We welcome you back inside the steam room. And Chuckster, this is right in your wheelhouse. I'm just going to, all we do, we tell all of our guests on the steam room to please keep your towel on. That's the only rule here in the steam room. And Chuck, you can do the honors of introducing our special guests.
Well, as I always say, Ernie, special guest, but this is really special for me. Head coach at Auburn, Gus Malzahn, and head coach at Auburn, Bruce Pearl. Thank you, guys, and welcome to the steam room.
War Eagle.
Great to be with you guys.
Hey, Coach, you got to, Coach Gus, you going to bat first. How is COVID life for a coach right now?
I tell you what, Charles, it's actually getting better. It's been very interesting. We got our players back June the 4th, and it was a learning experience. It's kind of the new normal. We started testing once a week, probably about 7 weeks ago, and just, getting used to if somebody's positive, the close contacts, keeping our guys safe, and at the same time working out and trying to practice. But the last 2 weeks have been better. I think we're in a good spot, and we're about a week away from the first game, so it's coming at a good time.
And BP, you got some time, and I don't even know what the schedule is. Because we're trying to figure out in the NBA. They moved the draft back a month. We got to do free agents, and we don't even know when next season's going to start. So what have you heard? Is the season going to start on time?
Yeah, Charles. So we're in our preseason right now, where we get them about 8 hours a week, and it's back in the day. Remember when we used to start October 15th? It was that hard start date. Yeah. Now we get to start. Student school starts a little bit, and it really is much better for the student athletes. They get trained up, and we put a better product, and the kids are healthier and safer. Yeah, it just came out yesterday that November 25th is going to be our start date. And we are actually down in Orlando for the Orlando Invitational on the 26th. So wouldn't surprise me. We don't know what it's all going to look like. We don't know exactly what the non-conference is going to look like. We don't know exactly, what these special, made for television events are going to look like. But it just wouldn't surprise me if we take advantage in college basketball of what y'all got going on down there in Orlando. They've got 2 practice facilities. They got 2 playing facilities. It's all set up for television. They've got the hotels, and if they get it all figured out, wouldn't surprise me at all if early in November, December, there's a lot of college basketball being played down there at those venues.
Yeah, Bruce, that's what I saw was that, and I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but it was going to be kind of a bubble environment for that tournament down there for you guys to get started.
Ernie, it just makes sense. They've got it all set up. And, it's going to be really weird having the Maui Invitational, someplace not in Maui. But the teams are set to come in, and I think it would be a good way of at least getting things started. And then, I think the best thing is to try not to make too many decisions too far in advance. Like, our football team is playing Kentucky next Saturday. We know that's going to happen. Let's do everything we can to make that happen, see what it looks like, and then go on and see what the next week looks like, and let us all try to get back to normal.
Gus, it's been a question for the last 3 months. Are we going to have college football? Are we going to have college football? And everybody's like, I don't know. Then you got the Big Ten who counsels. You got the Pac-12 who counsels. How have you been able to keep your players like, Coach, you got us working out. Yeah. Are we working out for a reason? Or are we going to play? How tough has that been?
Yeah, that's been a huge challenge. One thing that I appreciated about the SEC and our leadership is they had a plan all along that, hey, we're going to wait until this date as it gets closer before we make a decision. And there was a lot of ups and downs in between that. And just the emotional toll that it takes on your players and coaches, with everything that's going on week by week. And so it's just kind of a process. We were very honest with our players. Hey, we've got a plan, and we're going to stick to it, and we'll kind of go with the ups and downs and as it gets closer. And probably right before fall camp when they decided to push everything back, and then they had some plans for we're going to start the season September 26th. That's really the first time that there was a little bit of, okay, we are going to play. And that helped us a whole lot. And then we just took it week by week, and we had a couple weeks where, we had to actually cancel practice like three times in a row because of the COVID and just the ups and downs that went with it. But it's been a learning process for everyone. But now you can just feel the energy around the complex, knowing that, I mean, we got a game next week, so we are going to play, and we're going to be able to finish the season and all that. But it's definitely been interesting.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so I talked about it in the NBA bubble that your leadership is going to have to really be important, because when you have to self-motivate, that's a really big deal. How your leaders been during this time?
You know, that's exactly what we've been preaching all along. It's going to be about leadership. And in championship teams that we've had here were player-driven, not coach-driven. And, you know, KJ Britt, you know, he's really our defensive leader. Bo Nix is coming on as our offensive leader. Both those guys are close, and we're relying on our leadership. And you're exactly right. I mean, probably more than ever, that's going to be a bigger factor.
Yeah, because if you're not, you got, especially with no fans in the stands, if you don't have leadership to lead your team, I tell people, I said, man, this is going to be about leadership. Because like, it's hard, because football to me is the most demanding sport, and it's the most it's fan driven. And, you know, ain't nothing like having 100,000 fans cheering you on, getting you motivated. Now you got to do that yourself. That's what's going to be interesting to me about not just college football, but also the pros, because, you know, home field is a big deal in a lot of these college sports.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Of course, you know, we got one of the best home field advantages in all of college football, and so it's going to be different with that standpoint. But we've been talking about, you know, advantages. You know, what are some advantages for us? Well, now it's a 10-game SEC schedule, okay, and they added 2 extra games. And I've been telling our guys, that's an advantage for us, because we played the toughest schedule in our league since we've been here since 2013, with our crossover being Georgia and every year. So we're used to that grind. And I've been saying that there's some teams in our league that hadn't had the schedule we had. And just that grind of everything, I think, is going to be an advantage for us. And, you know, and the home field advantage, you know, you look this year, Alabama and Georgia's on the road. That's a pretty good year probably to have this situation happen. So we're just trying to look at all the positives.
Hey, Bruce, March Madness was one of the first, you know, so-called victims of this pandemic. You know, really having the rug pulled out that close to the time you live for. How did you handle it? How did you help your team, your players get through that? And how confident are you that March Madness will return this year?
Well, Ernie, think about it. When it's March 11th and Rudy Gobert goes down with the virus, and all of a sudden the next day the world changes and turns completely upside down. We didn't know what we were dealing with the pandemic. We didn't know how serious the virus was. We didn't know how many hundreds of thousands of millions of lives were going to be affected. So we really tried to keep it in perspective at that time. All right, guys, we don't know what we're dealing with right now, but right now we're losing the opportunity to play some basketball games. Right now, we're going to focus on our health and our family's health. So that was sort of where we sort of started. But then as you went on through, you got a feel for seniors. Obviously, the seniors in our population who are obviously the most at risk, but I'm talking about high school graduating seniors or my college seniors. Man, I mean, this is one shining moment. It's everything we work for. It's everything. Yeah, the conference championship for sure. The tournament championship, man, to get in dance, to get a seed, to have a chance to advance and play for the Final Four. And I had a really good team. I had 5 seniors and 1 first senior, and Isaac Okoro, who you guys are going to be talking about a lot when you guys are on TV now. We had a good team, and we were playing well at the end of the year. And we felt like we could go in there and we're built to be able to make another run and continue to make history, so on and so forth. So they were really, really disappointed. But you know what? We kept it in perspective. We're, you know, believe it or not, you know, we're a team that has God in our locker room. And we Philly talked about, you know, we've got to handle adversity here. And we got to handle it as God would want us to handle it and lead that way. You didn't hear a bunch of complaining. Now, let's get our degrees. Let's finish up school. Let's get our guys ready for the draft. And let's make the best of a tough situation.
2020 has been such an unbelievable year. And then all the social injustice and the protests, and I don't know what prepares you as a coach to deal with that, but how do you deal with it and hear your players and be sensitive to what you need to do at a time like that? And that's to both of you. Gus?
Yeah, it's been a learning experience for me. And, I really believe that our team and our staff is really come closer together. We've really broken down some walls. And, we were talking with our team and said, the first thing we decided is we got to educate ourselves. And so we had 10 or 11 speakers during the summer. We participated in the peaceful protest downtown, which was very powerful. We had a Juneteenth speaker, which I learned a lot during that. I know our players did too. And we have had, Tom Gossam, which is the first black football player that actually graduated from Auburn. We had him speak to our team. And then the next week we had his white suite mate speak to our team. So it's been a really educational thing for us. It's brought us closer together, our team, our staff, and but there's no doubt. I don't think anybody could be prepared. It's just, with something new, and but it's really been good for me, and I really think it's really been good for our staff, bringing us together.
Ernie, I would imagine, like, for you and Charles and Kenny and Shaq, this isn't a difficult conversation because you guys have been working together. So where I'm translating to that is, I think for those of us in sports coaches, we're dealing with the issues of race all the time. We're dealing with these challenges. So for us to have dialogue and conversation about it, it's no big deal. For us, I think that Coach and I look at each other as teachers. And so Coach bringing those people in to teach his players about different things involving our history. I'll give you an example. On Monday, I brought somebody in from our Office of Diversity Inclusion that talked about kneeling for the flag. And he gave a presentation about why he felt that was okay. I had somebody else from that same office come in and said, while I agree with that, this is why I'm going to be standing for the flag. Then I had somebody come in from the military, and one of my players asked him an amazing question. He said, "Sir, if we knelt for the flag, how would that make you feel?" And he got kind of welled up a little bit. The fact that he'd served in Iran and served in Afghanistan. He said, I appreciate you asking me that question. He said, I fought wars. I went overseas. I lost friends in battle so that you would have the right to make that choice. He said, but you want to know how I would feel? It would break my heart. He said, it would hurt me, because when I see you guys stand at attention and I see you put your right hand over your heart and your left hand behind your back, and I see you not turn your back on the flag, and I see you wait to go to your benches until the flag walks off the court, man, does that make me proud. He didn't pass judgment on them. He made sure that they were going to make up their own minds. And so as coaches, this is what Gus and I do. This is what we do. So we're all in the discussion. I've got to prepare my guys to get out there in this world and compete, no matter what it is, whether it's fair or unfair, diverse or not having the same equitable opportunities. They can't change that overnight. They got to go out there and deal with it and be successful. Auburn is a phenomenal place. We're different here. This is a special, friendly, all-inclusive place. Now I want my guys to go out there and make the rest of this world better, to be more like it is here at Auburn.
Guys, when I talked to you guys earlier, I think it might have been last week, tell me about the T-shirts y'all are wearing.
Well, what we got here is Auburn family, together we will, unite as one. And me and Bruce, throughout the whole summer, had just been sharing ideas and just get that feeling like, we need to be uniting. The Auburn family needs to unite. You turn on the news, it's like division. And so we were talking that, and then Bruce came up with the idea that let's not only, I think I came up with the idea of the T-shirt, but he came up with the idea of what does it need to be for? Something positive that we can make our campus more diverse. And so that's really how we got it. We went to our athletic director, Alan Green. He thought it was a great idea. And so me and Bruce just kind of put our heads together. And then, of course, we tried to reach out to our top alum, which, Charles, we really appreciate you being. I mean, you being a part of that, it just makes it that much better. We've got great response. I think we've sold 6,000 T-shirts for $20. And really, I know that, you know, just talking to my players, I've tried to listen, like, what's important to you guys? Because we talk about action, okay? Because we did the education's been great, but now user influence for action. And I'm one of those guys that think about, you know, we've got this opportunity right now. We're all going to look back 10 years from now during this moment, and we're going to say, what do we do to make things better? So I've been talking to my players. They want to be on campus and there's more people that look like them, more just black regular students. And that was important to them. So, you know, Bruce the same way with his players. So we kind of got together, let's raise some money and let's do something positive that will unite. And I know our players, let me just tell you, Charles, when we showed that unity video, and I know Bruce can share that here in a minute, but we showed the video before we put it out. And I'm just talking about our players when they saw you and Bo, Octavia Spencer, Tim Cook. I mean, like, they were just like, wow, they're with us. It was just an unbelievable feeling, and our guys have really taken pride. So, Bruce, why don't you share the response when you showed your team?
I mean, just seeing the video and seeing you and Tim Cook and Bo and the whole group all united, our guys stood up and clapped because, look, I asked them, I said, look, why do you protest? You protest for change. You protest to make things better. Then how about if we just work on making things better? How about if we just Gus and I went through a peaceful protest. You know, my team took a day off. We took one afternoon off from practice in recognition of what was going on there. But we got work to do. We got back to practice the next day, I guarantee you. And so we're going to raise money for scholarships. Gus is going to do a scholarship. I'm going to do a scholarship. Charles, you're going to do a scholarship. We're going to put together a bunch of people that are going to do scholarships. And we're going to do what our players asked us to do. You know why they want it? They want it because they love it here. They want it here. They want it because they know how successful and welcome they feel. And they just want other students that look like them to have the same opportunity. And that's what we're doing through the sale of these T-shirts. And for people making contributions to the Auburn University Foundation, and it's called Together We Will, and that's one of the things that we're going to do.
Hey, Gus and Bruce, thank you so much, man, to take a chunk out of your day like you have. We really appreciate it, and I know Chuckster does too. Given the fact that it was kind of a Georgia bent to the show last week with Maria Taylor. And now, Chuckster, you can't load up a show much more than you already have.
All right, here we go. 4th and 18 for the Tigers. Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up. He's going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped off. And Lewis caught it on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown, Auburn. Touchdown, Auburn. A miracle in Jordan-Hare. A miracle in Jordan-Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers, with 25 seconds to go, lead 43-38.
Hey, that's as good as it gets right there, guys. I mean, that's as good as it gets time-wise. Hey, the shirts, auteamstore.com. Okay? That's where you can get them.
Hey, Ernie. Hey, Gus, thank you.
Hey, I just want to bring a picture of that. That thing's hanging in my office right there, Ernie. That's hanging in the basketball coach's office. The miracle of Jordan-Hare right there. War Eagle, brother. War Eagle.
I seem to be having some trouble with my connection.
What other basketball coach is going to have a football play, all right, in their office? I mean, that's good as it gets, man.
Yes.
No, you guys, I'm telling you, I wish you the best, Gus, especially in a couple of weeks when you come to Athens. It's always an unbelievable game when those schools meet. So we wish you the best on that. And Bruce, when I hear you talk about that basketball program and talk about it with the passion that you do, I'm a Bulldog, but man, I would sign up to play for you any day. So thank you guys for being on here, man.
Blessed to be with you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys. It was a true honor.
All right, guys. Thank you again. We're gonna get them shirts out there.
And thanks for keeping your towels on.
Well, I got you guys here. I know what Chuck's favorite moment of the year was. It just happened. Chuck? on the podcast? Was the coaches discussion your favorite moment of all time?
No. I think for me, the soldier that had PTSD, that to me, because, you know, we started doing this little silly podcast just to make people have fun once a week. And to have somebody take it serious and say, no matter they're having issues, that meant a great deal to me. And also the lady who had lost her job and she's depressed during the pandemic. Man, if you can bring people like that joy, a little joy, I mean, that's what this thing is for.
That's why who you are. Ernie, how about you? Got a favorite moment?
Favorite moment from the podcast?
Yes, sir.
Man, I just think it's been such a pleasant surprise for me, because when they approached me and said, hey, look, we're doing a podcast, Chuck is on board, we'd love you to be part of it. And I was like, and my first thing was, okay, let's think about the schedule and how it works into the schedule and how we do this and what are we going to talk about. And the way it took off, and I think, you know, having Sanjay Gupta on and having
Van Jones.
Yeah, and, you know, Chris
Killer
Fowler
Mike.
Before the national championship game, Killer Mike.
Don
It's
Lemon.
just been, we've just learned so much, I think. I say that for myself, yes. I mean, I've learned so much just from hearing and being part of these conversations. So it's really hard for me to narrow down one particular, but man, these have been rich weeks for me, man. And
I'm not even gonna lie, Ernie. It's been, when I first started doing it, I wasn't sure, but man, I'm glad we did it. I mean, just some of the people we've interviewed have and the thing I like about it more than anything, I'm glad that we don't talk about sports unless we have to. That to me is the best part about it. Because if we just did a podcast and talked about sports all the time, it'd be just like we just doing the same thing we do.
You've reached Charles Barkley. Leave a message, America.
Charles and company.
My name is Stav, and I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Calling from Jerusalem, Israel.
Calling from Scotland.
Calling from Lagos, Nigeria. I watch Inside the NBA every week, and now I'm a loyal steamer. You know, steamer, as in a fan of the steam room.
At Lincoln County Jail. If you would like to continue this call of up to 20 minutes.
Hey, Charles, this is Gary Sheffield, the last year's Black Masters champion.
Charles, it's Jay Wright. Hey, congratulations on your new show. You guys sound great. But, man, it's dangerous with you having this much airtime.
Hey, Chuck, this is Petty Officer Oglesby, serving in the United States Navy. Quick story. I met you in the airport about 9 years ago. I was on my way to boot camp. You stopped me in a group of my friends and wished us nothing but the best, and I really appreciate that.
It's been just fun to listen to you guys and have some serious moments and feel like we're all in it together, which has been great.
The topics you've discussed, bringing awareness to mental health issues, and the guests you've had on to open up and talk about their struggles, it's reassuring to hear.
I ended up into kind of a funk. Then I found Steam Room, became a steamer. It's a great thing to listen to as I walk along.
Appreciate all that you're doing, both you and Eddie. End
of messages.
You and Eddie. Those were some great things.
That was, man.
We've enjoyed the give and take we have with everybody and hearing from them. The Steam Room has run its course for season 1, and that's the encouraging thing to me when everybody refers to it as, hey, this first season, which indicates there will be a second season.
Well, if we have anything to say about it, there will be a season 2.
Yeah. Well, of course there will be. Plan on it. I just don't know exactly the start. It's kind of like when you like to watch those shows like Ozark, and then the season ends, and you're just like, oh, and we don't even know when the next season is. It's kind of not to liken ourselves to Ozark, which is wonderful, but it's like we'll be back. We just don't know when that's going to be, and we'll bring you the same level of highly educational and highly informative and highly hilarious at times podcast. So thanks to the folks at Tractor Supply Company for their sponsorship. Thanks to TK, everybody involved in the show. Thanks to you, Chuckster. Been a blast for me, and I'm looking forward to season 2, brother.
All right, brother. I'll see you in the Western Conference Finals.
I'll be there. Later, everybody.